Pompeo has been caught making some comments about Venezuela that were not intended for the primetime viewers. Apparently, he's not sure who would replace Maduro if his regime change efforts are successful.
This has been our conundrum, which is to keep the opposition united has proven devilishly difficult. The moment Maduro leaves, everybody's going to raise their hand that says, take me, I'm the next president of Venezuela. There'll be 40 plus people who believe they're the rightful heir to Maduro.
Pompeo was pretty clear about the fact that this discussion was not meant for public consumption.
Somebody's probably got a tape recorder on silence.
This is what America's top diplomat said at the United Nations when the lights were on him and the cameras were rolling.
Now we have a new leader, Juan Guaido, in Venezuela, who has promised to bring elections and constitutional order back to Venezuela and security back to the region. We cannot delay this critical conversation, which has the world's attention. For the sake of Venezuela and the region, we must support the Venezuelan people and do so right now.
So Mike Pompeo isn't too concerned about what happens in Venezuela after the current leadership is overthrown. Now, let's not forget that the U.S. meddling in the country's internal affairs is motivated purely by selfless humanitarian concerns about the people. So after regime change, there are 40-plus contenders who will then fight it out for power. Now, does that remind you of any recent events in current history? Take, for example, the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Dick Cheney said that it would go well.
My belief is we will, in fact, be greeted as liberators.
But there's been nothing but chaos and civil war in Iraq since the USA invaded. There are 288,000 deaths so far and counting. And Dick Cheney wasn't completely clueless. Listen to what he said in 1994.
Once you got to Iraq and took it over and took down Saddam Hussein's government, then what are you going to put in its place?
Or take Libya. Hillary Clinton was delighted to hear that Gaddafi had been put to the sword.
We came, we saw, he died.
But now even Barack Obama admits that toppling the Libyan government didn't come with a game plan for what happens next.
What he considers his worst mistake as president?
Probably failing to plan for the day after what I think was the right thing to do in intervening in Libya.
But who needs planning, right? After all, the people of Venezuela would probably love to have their homeland go the way of Iraq and Libya. Nothing says freedom and liberation like having regime change followed by civil war and thousands of refugees fleeing for their lives.
It confirms something that we, long suspected, but, now, is out in the open, that the opposition is so internally divided. Washington, particularly the figures like Marco Rubio, favor a, radical regime change scenario, which involves, effectively destroying the existing democratic institutional structure that has been built in Venezuela. In the words of John Bolton, that to open up Venezuela's oil sector to U.S. and, to really return Venezuela to the pre-1999 status quo, where it was a reliable, ally in the region and, reliable agent of the U.S. in OPEC to maintain, low oil prices, as the U.S. diplomatic cables themselves acknowledge.